is that she is self-taught. She does not know any music theory.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she really doesn't. Let's take a look at that transcription really quick.
And this was apparently one of the first.
This is one of the first songs I ever wrote on guitar. Oh yeah, and it was the first song, it was the first time you ever thought about music, I bet. I bet you never even, like, considered music before this, and you just wrote that. Yeah, sure. Like, whatever.
I can barely wrap my head around this. How do you have such deep harmonic?
Yeah, it's almost like that's misleading. Like, I don't believe that for a second. What bothers me is that this was originally sold to me as someone who is self-taught and doesn't know any music theory, and she clearly does. The music is good enough to where we don't need this BS story about how it's just miraculous chance that anything she's playing sounds good. It doesn't need to be that. You can know what you're doing. It's fine. Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the reaction log. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright, we got a special, spicy, extra special one here, actually. I've made, what, like 500 and something videos, and I've never featured this guy. Welcome to the show, Adam. How's it going? I'm just kidding, he's not actually here. No one's ever here. I'm alone. I need to have full control over my guests or I just won't be able to function. So it needs to be a pre-recorded video and I need to be able to edit the video that I make after the fact. That's my style, that's what we're doing here. I know that most of the people watching me right now want to see me slander Adam Neely in some way. That's what you're used to. What really is there to say about Adam Neely? I don't know. He pushes music education, he's been doing it for years. He's uber popular because of it, because he does it in a way that's nice to watch. I've been watching him for years personally and I've learned at least several things from him. Nothing that I can really name right now, but I certainly have learned several things. And when I saw this thumbnail, I couldn't help but notice it's a nylon string player who's being featured in this video. So obviously, that's where I come in. We're gonna be watching this and reacting to it. We're gonna be calm, we're gonna be respectful, we're gonna listen to what he has to say, and I'm gonna give him ample time to speak. And then I'll try to contribute something meaningful to the conversation, and that's how this Sore Hands video is gonna go. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Shall we?
So this is Lau Noah.
Hey, Lau Noah, how's it going? Whoa, okay, first off, I didn't notice this from the thumbnail. Is that a freaking cutoff? You know what? Everything I just said about being calm and respectful, that's out the window. What are you gonna cut off next? Why don't you cut off the other side? Why don't you cut off all your strings if you're gonna cut off that part of the guitar?
She is a Catalan composer and songwriter.
Good for you for doing that research, because Lord knows I wouldn't have done that. I would have been like, look at this video, she's playing a cutoff, isn't that weird? And that would be it.
One of music's best kept secrets. Her music is harmonically.
Look at all the secrets on this. What is this? Is she a hoarder too? Oh my goodness. All right, dude, love to see it. That's Bach, I'm pretty sure, right next to an empty wine bottle, getting freaking drunk. Nice. Got maracas in a cup, got a water bottle that's gonna make all the papers under it wet. Good choice, good placement. I'm looking around, we got a Curious George. Got another bottle of something. A radio for music. We love music here. I don't know, what else do you guys see? Oh, this must be NPR. Is this NPR set? Because this looks terrible. This looks like a mess. Okay, sorry if this is her place. I don't mean to insult her. But there is a stark difference between Adam Neely's clean background versus this disaster. All right, moving on.
And lyrically rich, which explains why she has collaborated with the crocked one himself, Jacob Collier.
Whoa, dude, Jacob Collier in the house, huh? I love seeing Jacob Collier in my not Jacob Collier video. He's gonna be in the thumbnail now. Woo.
Alongside many virtuoso musicians like...
Can you really be a virtuoso musician if you play piano? You're just pressing buttons, you know what I'm saying?
Shy Maestro and Chris Thiele.
Okay, so she has some credibility because she's played with other people. That's good to know. Let's get into her music.
Just unlike anything that I've ever heard before. Check it out.
Dude, high praise from Adam Neely. This better be good. What is she playing, Bach on that guitar?
Hombre de corazón frío sin compasión, creador de la guerra, adueñado del sol, señor del agua, del río, del mar. ¿Cómo eres capaz de quererme sin reconocer tu verdad? ¿Cómo confiar? ¿Cómo confiar?
Yeah, first impressions. I don't know, it's cool. It's like scales playing harmony and stuff. I'm sure a lot of you in the comments will be like, you don't even understand what you're hearing right now. That's what you guys love to say. It can be Yngwie Malmsteen just playing scales really fast. It can be this person playing scales that traverses different chords and keys. It can be whatever. And then I'll make fun of it, and then you're like, you don't even know what you're listening to. Maybe you're right. That's why I make fun of it, because I don't understand it. That's pretty typical of people, right? So, I don't know. Keep post a comment about that. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know. It just, like, I've been listening to Bach all day, like, before this, and it just, I don't know. Is there anything better than Bach? Let's watch David Russell really quick. Yeah. Listen to that bass line. I don't know, of all the things you can play on a nylon string guitar, like, this is just the ultimate pursuit, is it not? I mean, my lord, it's so good! Dude, look at that. He's playing a complete guitar, too. Look at that. It's not even cut away. He doesn't cut anything off of his guitar. It's all there. It's all there. It's wonderful. Go, you can't play the high notes very well. You think David Russell struggles to play the high notes even without a cutaway? No, he doesn't. And again, I want to emphasize this because she never claimed to compare herself to Bach. She didn't do that. Like, Adam Neely only said, I've never heard anything like it. And it's true, maybe we haven't heard anything like it. Though I feel like we kind of have. It just sounds like voice and guitar just harmonizing with each other. It's counterpoint, two distinct melodies harmonizing with each other. I'm not trying to compare her to Bach or anything like that. I'm not trying to do that. I'm sorry. It's just when I see someone playing a nylon string and it's something that isn't that, it's like, well, you know, you could be playing that. You know that, right? I keep wanting to apologize for the elitist take. You know where you are. It's Sore Hands. Look at the channel name. This is Sore Hands. Go watch something else if you don't want the elitist take, okay? Moving on, sorry.
Man, this stuff is crazy. It's colorful and intense. The key changes are surprising and evocative. But what is so mind-boggling about this stuff is that she is self-taught. She does not know any music theory.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she really doesn't. Let's take a look at that transcription really quick. What do you mean she doesn't know any music theory? See, okay, and let me actually say this too. I actually said this on the live stream. By the way, I practice live stream basically every day. Somebody asked a question, how can I get started with learning music theory? I answered the question basically as this. Oh, I actually still have the book here because I showed them the book that I used in college for 4 semesters. It was super important for me to take these classes to understand the music that I play. When you say she doesn't know music theory, she might not know terms and definitions from this book, but she still knows music theory. And the advice that I gave to the person who wants to learn music theory is that you can get the book, you can study the book all you want, but if you don't play the examples and really hear each concept and what they sound like, your grasp on anything you learn will be far diminished than if you did do that. The whole point of knowing the terms and stuff is just to identify what you're hearing. It's to put a label to the sound that you're hearing. She might not be able to identify everything happening between every single note, but she can hear what she's doing. She kind of learned the theory without putting labels on things, which is fine. It's the same as me speaking in English right now. You could take the sentence that I'm saying right now and you could point at each individual part. I would have no idea what we call that, like what the predicate is. I don't know what a predicate is. It's not impressive for me to say, oh, I don't know any grammar, but yet I can still miraculously speak English. It's like, yeah, most people don't know grammar. Who knows that? Same thing with her. It's not a big deal that she doesn't know music theory, but she knows music very well. It's not like this is accidental. This is all still thought out, just like how I'm still able to convey complex ideas through English, even though I don't know the grammar. You can still do the same thing with music. So again, if you want to learn music theory, it's super useful because it'll give you examples of everything basically that's possible with notes, and you can put labels on them and you can quickly identify things when you hear them. You don't need to do that to make good music. Obviously.
She is self-taught. She does not know any music theory. And this was apparently one of the first...
This is one of the first songs I ever wrote on guitar. Oh yeah, and it was the first song, it was the first time you ever thought about music, I bet. I bet you never even, like, considered music before this, and you just wrote that. Yeah, sure. Like, whatever. This was one of the first songs I ever wrote, and this was the chosen opening song for my Tiny Desk concert. Listen to it. Wow, just never did music before, and you just wrote this like super complex song and you know how to sing and play guitar already. Like, where'd you learn how to play guitar? Where'd you learn your right hand technique? You didn't learn it from anywhere? I'd like to hear freaking history. Like, self-taught, but my dad was amazing at guitar and I was surrounded by amazing musicians. Everybody loves claiming self-taught. It's like I went outside and I heard the birds chirping at each other and that's where I got all my musical ideas. No, you were exposed to music. I guarantee you were.
I can barely wrap my head around this. How do you have such deep harmonic...
Yeah, it's almost like that's misleading. Like, I don't believe that for a second. What's an analogy to that? What if I wrote a science fiction novel and I was like, I've never written a science fiction novel and this is the first one and it got a bestseller. Now, prior to this, I maybe won't mention this, but I've been reading science fiction obsessively. I've read thousands of science fiction novels, and in fact I kind of formulated my own years before this, but this is my first attempt at it. That is so different from someone who's never thought about science fiction and decides to write one, and it just sucks, of course, because they don't know like the structure of what it should be or anything. They have no ideas. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Whatever. All right, moving on.
Language without the technical training. I asked Lau a little bit about
What's the difference between her and Taylor Swift then? Why doesn't Taylor Swift play like that? Taylor Swift didn't have technical training. Like, is it just something special in her? Or did she actually receive technical training in some way? Maybe in ways that are hard to pin down. Maybe she practiced technical ideas, like making them up at least. But that's still training in some way. Hey, she's playing a full guitar this time. Nice.
The very much like, let's harmonize every freaking note you're singing with the guitar. So just place my fingers randomly.
Yeah, dude, look at her right hand. Like, yeah, that's just no technical training. Got nails, a PIMA all on the strings. That's not how guitarists who haven't received training put their hand on the guitar. Just because she didn't have a guitar teacher to teach her how to do that. If she saw a guitarist doing PIMA, like, that's still training. She was given the idea somehow.
And then I went note by note with my voice. Do, 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 you know? And
Yeah, you know, just like, just whatever.
found a melody on my voice that matched. Lo que se me hace es un espejo que te haré. Tu mundo no sé si papi. De tu corazón es gana, está vivo, no mates lo que se te ha dado. Solo para ti, solo muérete, solo camente. Se te mueren los ojos por usar el tonto.
Is that
Note by note.
yeah?
Yeah, her music, from what I've heard, which has been very minimal, by the way, I haven't done my research like Adam Neely has. This music, I think, represents exactly what is cool about the guitar, because you can learn just a couple of chord shapes, and you can slide those suckers around, and you can get really interesting, like, modulations. And you don't necessarily need to know what you're doing. Apparently she doesn't know music theory. You don't need to know music theory to slide chords around, and you can get really interesting textures and harmonies by doing that. But she definitely has been exposed to just these techniques. She had to have been. I feel like people can't just come to these chord shapes in this right-hand pattern without some kind of exposure. Self-taught is such a silly and I feel ego-driven thing. You're just saying, I didn't need help. I didn't need help from anybody. I just came up with this on my own. It is the same thing as someone speaking to me in English saying, I taught myself English. Yeah, you did, but you didn't invent English, right? Like, you had some kind of reference. You learned from something. Claiming self-taught is just very strange to me because we all have influences that we learned from in music. I feel like we just get away with that with music. Like, oh, I just made that up. Everything I played, I just made it up. I don't know where it came from. It came from a dream. It came from the birds. I don't know. Sorry, I'm being stupid. Let's just listen. Yeah. The average self-taught player right here.
Is that
Note by note.
yeah?
Yeah, note by note. Those were all common chord shapes that you would learn and play. Were they not? Those weren't like random finger placements.
Groundbreaking. It's just harder work than other people.
Again, I'm not trying to throw hate on her. I'm just reacting to how it's being presented to me, and I just go off on the whole self-taught thing. Really what it is, she's having fun with music, she's figuring stuff out, and that's fun to do on guitar. It's fun to just use your ear and figure stuff out. That's the point of theory. Theory trains your ear, and then you figure stuff out once you have it. It's push and pull through whatever means you want. That's what music is.
Try to make it look as if and sound as if it was much harder than it is, but it's not that difficult.
Okay, so I guess on the surface, it's not that hard. You take idiomatic shapes to the guitar, and then you harmonize those shapes with your voice. But
I think the voice is the hardest part for me. Adam's gonna somehow spin this to be actually super hard. He's like, you think David Russell could play this? I don't think so.
there clearly is some more stuff going on here. There are key changes, there are complex seventh chords, there's things that
Well, yeah, there are key changes, but again, it's idiomatic shapes being moved around. I don't care how complex the key changes in the seventh chords are. We just changed. Like, here, Adam, notate this. Complex seventh chords, the keys can change, but it's all idiomatic, so I get what she's saying with that. It gets way more complicated when you notate it like this, which, guess what? She never notated it. Probably thinking in tabs and chord shape and then just using your ear to slide it around. So yeah, I mean, you could take something that's relatively simple and put it in sheet music and it looks insane. Like, you can take any metal or rock solo, like the solo to Beast and the Harlot or Master of Puppets, for example, and you could write it out and it would look absolutely insane. But that's not the language that it was written in. So I don't know, something feels a little weird about that.
I would identify as something like a 2-5-1 progression. Do you just pick up that stuff from exposure and osmosis? How do you learn to write with this harmony intuitively?
Yeah, you definitely pick it up from osmosis. Like you're exposed to it, and then it makes sense. Totally.
I was part of the jazz world for a while.
What does that mean? You were part of the jazz world, so you studied jazz and you picked up 2-5-1s from that? Yeah, that's not self-taught. That's so weird. Why do we say that? Why can't we just be honest about where we came from? I've been in guitar lessons my whole life, and I'm sure there's gonna be plenty of comments like, oh, you're not even good. I've been in guitar lessons since I was 11, basically, and I have 1 degree in it. I'm going for another degree and guitar. I'm even in guitar lessons right now. And a part of me even feels that I've been self-taught, because a lot of it is realizations that I've come to on my own. But really, when I reflect back on it, it's my teachers who plant the seeds that then grow and realize later on when I'm alone. That's what teachers should do. They expose you to things, and then you have epiphany moments. And I feel like it's so easy when you have those epiphany moments and no one's around. It's like, that's all me. I came up with that. No, you didn't. It's the teachers. Thank your teachers. You should recognize them.
Watching people.
Would you say that that's where you got a lot of your harmonic language, or?
I think it's a blend between that exposure of many years of more complex harmonic language from the
Many years exposure. That'll do a lot, the jazz world. Even if you're not studying jazz, just listening to it. Because again, you learn theory to get it in your ear. Just that, you can do the same thing listening to music too, because finally you'll play something that sounds like what you're used to. That's what you're going to gravitate towards, if that's what's in your ear.
jazz world, but also all the Disney soundtracks I was obsessed with as a kid. There is a lot of complexity
Maybe try to ignore those a little bit. I don't know about
in
that.
that
Just kidding.
language as well. I think the most genius composers are the ones who bring in that complexity, making it feel and sound so universal.
Brought to you by Universal Studios.
You are too beautiful, my dear, to be true.
Yeah. Dude, this is self-taught as heck right here. She doesn't know anything, clearly.
And I'm a fool for beauty. Intuitively,
Yeah, totally. Totally, right? That was like beautiful and amazing. Did the birds teach you that too? Disney soundtracks, jazz exposure, the birds tweeting outside. That's where it all comes from, right there. I've been in guitar lessons my whole life, and I was looking at that, and it's like, that looks hard. That looks pretty tough to play that well. Maybe what it is that she's just better than me and everyone. And better than you, certainly. But most importantly, better than me. And that's cool. I accept that as well. It just stings when someone's better than you and they also say it's self-taught. It's like, unless that is actually just completely true, it's just kind of mean to say that. I don't agree with someone who's really good saying that. It's not nice.
I understand the need for the architecture of the song, and it's the same as like writing a book or cooking a dish, really. Like, you know when there's too much green on the plate and you need like a change of something.
Dude, it's all protein for me. It's just a steak on a plate, and it's like, oh, that looks good. That's like Ingve, I guess, when it's just all steak. Just no balance. Just like, we're eating meat tonight.
To be with, which this is very jazz language, I guess. Going like, fooled, right? You go fooled by a feeling, and again, very
Yeah, she like can switch between, this is what you do if you're playing jazz, this is what you do if you're doing my thing. I don't know anything though, right?
expected harmony here. Fooled by a feeling that
Expected harmony. She just sounds like she's talking about music theory. What bothers me is that this was originally sold to me as someone who is self-taught and doesn't know any music theory, and she clearly does. Right? It's weird. The music is good enough to where we don't need this BS story about how it's just miraculous chance that anything she's playing sounds good. It doesn't need to be that. You can know what you're doing. It's fine. That's another thing I hear all the time too. People are scared of learning music theory because they think it'll take away their creativity. Look at how creative she's being, and she knows what she's doing. Like, she's using terms like expected harmony. Again, with the English analogy, that's like saying that your book isn't going to be as good if you learn more vocabulary. No, that's ridiculous. You don't have to use your new vocabulary. You can use simple language if you want, but it's just an option. It's a tool in your tool shed.
because I found you. Is that
WTF is this resolution? Dude, I don't know. You can resolve anything anywhere. Just like, oh, I don't know. It's like, what was that resolution? WTF was that? WTF was that resolution? Like, what was that resolution? Here's a little music lesson for all the self-taught people out there. Literally, anything works. As long as your ear sort of adjusts to the complex harmony sound, you can do some pretty wacky resolutions that are hard to describe with Roman numerals like this, sure, but your ear hears it. It's the same energy as the Jacob Collier video where the level 4 pianist is listening to Jacob Collier just play chords and he goes like, whoa.
G minor 7, G sus, G7.
Sussy.
G7 sharp 11.
Oh, dude.
And then
Oh, dude.
G7 with a flat.
Come on, man. You've heard chords before. Don't act like this. Oh, dude, I'm being such a douche right now. And out of the three of us, like, I'm by far the worst, I know. And I'm being so cynical about it. All chords work over all notes, and all notes work over all chords. If you're open to them working, and you don't even have to resolve them. That's the beauty. I'll even go further than him in that. Don't even resolve stuff. You don't have to. Everything sounds good. Especially if you spread it out over a piano. Oh, man. I have a theory that you can't actually make anything sound bad on piano. Like, WTF is this resolution? It's just one of the infinite wacky things that you can play. It sounds great, I know. But we all know it's not a big deal. You know, it's cool. Like, we know what chords sound like. Chords sound crazy.
Is that right?
You talk about that chord?
Yeah. That's just
Dude, you're asking her about specific chords. She said she doesn't know, dude. Just listen, enjoy it.
First of all, the chord can hold on itself because it's one of the most beautiful chords ever.
Yeah.
And so, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense in
Makes sense. Does. It makes sense, I agree. It's a nice chord.
terms of the plot of the song.
It's just so stupid. Like, yeah, she didn't know anything. Hopefully you guys get what I'm saying, and I'm not just coming across as like the meanest man on earth. I'm really not trying to be. I'm happy that she's playing music that she loves and that she's found like a musical language that she can express herself in. It's just how this is all being presented to me that is making me upset, and that's all it is. The music itself is great. It sounds great. I love it. It's just the self-taught angle. Maybe adjust that. I would leave that out. That's not a selling point of your musicianship. Just leave out the self-taught stuff. I hate it.
She's based in New York City and has a wonderful community of musicians that have learned her music. I really dig her arrangements with guitarist Yoav Shed, for example. And, you know, I've been playing her stuff for about 3 or 4 years now.
You know, these are the moments, seeing all these, like, happy musicians play together. It's just like, I am just burning so many bridges. But then I remember, I am a classical guitarist, and I literally never have to play with anyone. So I can really act however I want, and I'm safe. Like, I'm good. I am an island, and I like it like that. I don't care if anybody likes me. All right. For a lot of people, music is this shared communal thing, and for me, it's like my reason for isolation. That is the classical snob way, that I think. All right.
She draws from and makes her own.
You've been very influenced by Americana and like country music.
I think
No, I haven't been influenced by anything.
my appeal for Americana and folk music is what they achieve in people. It's quite surreal because they
Whoa. Sorry, I wasn't listening. Adam, what is this setup, man? You couldn't, like, set up a podcast or situation or something? You're just, like, holding your phone on her. It's a little strange. Sorry, that's neither here or there. Moving on.
are grabbing something that has to be so core, centered in human emotion. With carvings of pretty road.
Hey, this ain't no country I know. Hold on now.
So
Nice, dude. That's folky as heck. Ooh, 5/6.
you hold me when the day close like
See, right when I hear that noise, I can say 5/6. She doesn't have to know that's a 5/6, though I'm sure she does. That's like very, very basic. But you don't have to know that, because you know the sound, and you can then associate it with just shapes on the guitar. Tons of people do that. Once you know the sound, you know it, and that'll never leave you. And that's true for any arrangement of notes moving to any other arrangement of notes. And that is the musical language that we learn. It all goes back to what I said with like learning English versus grammar.
didn't play this 4-chord song.
Wait, what are chords? We didn't learn that. Is that like strings? Like a chord? You pull a chord tight? I don't know.
It's more than anything else that I've been listening to that has like millions of chords in it.
Why do you still play millions of chords then?
A guitar only has 6 chords, okay?
I think the goal is to try and find a way to play the millions of chords and make it sound like it's 4, you know?
Facts. I actually relate so hard with what she just said right there, and that's exactly why I love Bach. It just takes this harmonic language that we have with the 24 keys that we have and the 12 dominant chords that lead to them, and it just moves through it seamlessly, and it feels like one key, basically. So I agree, that is kind of the point. It's how do you make it as complex but still keep it elegant. When that's achieved, that's when you hear it and you're like, that's nice. That's really nice right there. Yeah.
Good movie, like The Bridges of Madison County. It's a love story. Now, you have the scene of the first kiss. That first kiss is this song. 4 chords. It's a feeling, it doesn't matter, it's just 2 people joining body parts that make everybody feel something. Everybody who's got a...
Joining body parts, am I right, guys? I'm not mature enough to listen to this part, so we might skip ahead.
But if you go there without...
Oh, they're kissing! Oh! Ew, they're kissing. That's yucky.
Just cringe.
That cringe, yeah.
How do you make that kiss amazing?
Add dragons to it and fire. That's how you do it.
To get to that point, it has to be interesting. There have to be a lot of like elements around. That's the thing. Like you have to get far away enough so that coming back is exciting. You know, in Pirates of the
Yeah. That's... Wait, was she about to say Pirates of the Caribbean?
They're trying to rescue
Nice.
Jack Sparrow from the world of the dead.
Dude, that is the Bach of movies, I have to say.
Captain Barbossa is the one leading everybody.
Man, it's funny that she went to this, like, classic film and then just went to this crap. You know, in Pirates of the Caribbean, when they, like, fought the zombie pirates, it was freaking awesome. So you have to do that, but, like, with music.
And he has no idea where they are. And he goes, like, to find places that no one goes to, you have to get lost.
Story of getting lost and finding your way back home can be expressed not through just words, but also musical phrases and musical decisions. In the case of the bridge to this tune, Wooden Chair, Lau expresses that through both melody and harmony. For example, this phrase is built by targeting a series of ascending minor third intervals.
What's a minor third? Do you think she knows what that is? Dude, she doesn't know anything.
Particular key,
Right?
creating tension in a literal rising action of the story, which is resolved to a falling action, a denouement in the key, a descending scalar pattern.
How elegant. How freaking informed, right?
Till you give it a heart, heart is a heart till you break it apart. Because you're like, where are you then? That brings you back to the center. Instability to balance to instability to stability.
And you do that through, like, just the conventions that cause tension and resolution. Where'd you learn that, though? You're self-taught, I thought. What happened to that?
That's what makes everything interesting.
This journey can also be expressed through harmony, and I want to talk a little bit about that. The bridge starts.
Ooh, Adam wants to talk a little bit about harmony today. All right.
The cello swing by the river, swing by the river.
The pattern matching that I've been trained to do hears this as some kind of 5-chord resolving to 1. Our vocabulary is intimately tied to that language. But that language can cloud our perspective because it assumes that these musical choices were made with that language in mind. And in this case, they weren't.
The way I find the...
Well, sort of. It was, though. It can't be this similar to this language that you're talking about without it being somewhat influenced by it. She's just doing unexpected things, which, I mean, I feel like a lot of it is not super unexpected. Like, a lot of times she'll play, like, a chromatic note and then resolve it up or down to wherever it feels like it needs to resolve, at least from what I'm hearing. Again, I have no idea what I'm hearing. I don't know what I'm talking about at all.
Trying to figure out the best sounding chord, the closest to the chord I played before.
So in traditional counterpoint, the stuff that I learned in music,
Whoa, breaking that out. A man of culture, I see. Wow. Wait, how used does that book look, though? Oh, wow. You can see it's kind of scuffed up, too, so you know he read that thing. I don't know if the same can be said about mine. More of a skimmer. If I'm being honest with you, I've really only read, like, the first species of counterpoint, like, sort of extensively. The introduction in the first species is probably the most important, though.
in music school, there's something called parsimonious voice leading, which says that when you switch chords, you want every note, every voice to move as little as possible from chord to chord. And what we could say is that when we do this kind of movement on a guitar, when you're moving the fingers as little as possible, you're engaged in parsimonious guitar fingering.
Exactly, and that can make a lot of stuff sound really nice. So, you know, guitar for the win.
Yeah, I am definitely afraid of learning the technical language.
Good, you should be. You're gonna lose everything if you learn stuff. Don't do that. Don't learn.
And the fear is that I will become way less free. And I know it's not the case for many people. And many people have made a very clear point that so and so and so actually benefited so much from learning and all this, and that expanded their horizons. In my case, I just don't have enough proof that that's true.
The serpent convinced Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge. And that is why we have suffering now. It's why we have everything bad. And you can never go back from learning. Remember that. Once you learn, you can't unlearn that. Maybe if you get hit in the head or something, I don't know. So if you like how things are right now, you should forever shield yourself from ever learning anything, stay in the dark, and try to live the rest of your life without ever changing. And in that, you'll never grow, but you don't want to grow because you're happy where you are right now, so don't worry about it. And at least if you do grow, it'll be sort of growth from just the dark, because you won't really know the direction that you're going. You just kind of have vague ideas for where you want to go. More analogies is like driving without a map. If your goal is to just drive in a direction, why do you need a map for that? You don't. If anything, the map might mess you up, because what if you realize you actually do want to go somewhere? You can't know that if you don't have a map, though. Listen, I think it's pretty obvious, but I think that perspective is kind of silly. Music theory is not the forbidden fruit. If you learn it, you don't have to use it. You can do random stuff. Random sliding chords around will always be an option. Doesn't matter how much theory you know. I don't think she needs theory. Like, she certainly doesn't need it to have a career, because she has one without it. So if she doesn't want to learn it, then what's the point? Now, if I were a child watching this who was getting into music, and I was kind of being shown how theory isn't actually that important, I would probably want to encourage the kid to learn as much as they can about music. If you're passionate about some kind of art form, you should know the fundamentals of that art form, especially for kids learning it. I would never advise a child to just not learn stuff on purpose, because it might make them more creative in some way. I just wouldn't do that. You know, there are countless examples of this. Like, I see it with Marcin, because Marcin just released a new video too, and people love showing Marcin as an example of someone who had some classical training, but then the classical training held him back, so he left it. Well, the classical training obviously didn't stop him from doing what he wanted to do. In fact, I think it enabled him to do what he wanted to do, because he wouldn't have that harmonic language and the technique to play the stuff that he plays if he didn't have that classical training already. He got the tools from the training, and in that, he ignored some of it, went all in on some other aspects of it, and now he has his career where he does whatever he wants. You think his music would be the same if he didn't have his classical training in that Polish conservatory? Heck no, dude. Are you kidding me? No, of course he wouldn't. If you think that Marcin's music right now is the pinnacle of his expression, do you really think his classical training hurt him? No, it didn't. And it's the same for anything. There's no amount of training that's going to harm you. If anything, it might change your goals and perspectives, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because that's just part of growth. And again, one more perspective. We don't always need to learn more about the stuff that we do. For example, video editing. I don't need to learn more about video editing, because I edit the videos as I do. It works for the genre of video I make. Why do I need to learn how to edit like cinematic shots and stuff? I just simply don't, so why would I learn that? It won't serve the product that I'm making here. Maybe she feels the same way about her music. For me, music is a continuous, ever-evolving pursuit. Right now it's on Bach. I don't know what it's going to be in like 20 years. Who knows? But it's going to keep growing, and I'm never going to not want to learn about it. Video editing is not the passion that I have. It's the playing music. That's what it is. Not everybody needs to feel that way, obviously. There are video editors that'll look at me and think that I'm trash, and that's like a perspective that I'm putting on to a lot of people, but also this is my show where I share my perspective, so that's what this is. Boom! Man, can I just say, by the way, I think that it's so wonderful that this person found their musical voice and that they're happy and having fun and composing. It's great. Like, that's what music is all about. She has a community. She's making music that's adored by people, and she loves making the music. She don't gotta do anything. She don't gotta listen to me or anybody. Are you kidding me? I'm a freaking loser in my apartment making a video about her. I'm nothing. I'm trash, okay? And sincerely, I am happy. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for Adam with his success and his musical career as well. I don't know. Do you have any questions about anything? Anywho, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. So, of course, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And there's gonna be more videos coming out, probably live streaming today. It'll probably be after this video uploads, so maybe check that out. It's usually like 3 hours or so. Now, of course, if you want guitar lessons, I do technically say that I offer them. I'm not taking any new students right now, but you can always introduce yourself to me in email. I won't reply to it, but I will definitely see it, and I'll keep it in mind. I'm sorry, I'm just super busy. Of course, merch, head on down to Root is the Light. If you want to support me, there's Patreon, there's a member section, all that stuff. All right, I'll see you in the next one.